As an aggregator. As an aggregator, one-page capstone. As an aggregator is a consumer-first media project that turns years of deep, high-signal content consumption into public curation. The core thesis is simple. Most people experience the internet passively through algorithmic feeds, but value compounds when you convert that passive stream into an intentional library. Your vehicle for that conversion is playlists, ASAP transit lists for watch now, category-specific lists for topic depth, and temporal playlists, e.g. temporal quick picks, that timestamp what culture felt like in a given moment. You privilege discovery over creation, selection over production, and you teach viewers how to build their own libraries while you maintain yours in public. The editorial orientation centers on culture commentary and the craft of discovery, how to find, evaluate, and sequence videos so that patterns emerge across channels and niches. You use a consistent brand lexicon, quick pick, culture commentary, consume digest, dynamic playlists, emphasizing the distinction between passive and active consumption. You end with the call to action, add this to a playlist, rather than like/subscribe. The audience is digitally fluent content consumers, roughly ages 24 to 35, often late-night viewers who want sharper signal without surrendering everything to the recommendation engine. Your playlist architecture operationalizes the philosophy. ASAP lists capture timely, perishable items. Category-specific lists, formatted with parentheses, accumulate enduring topic clusters. Temporal playlists capture the pulse of the day, week, or month and rotate on a calendar cadence so the collection becomes a cultural logbook. The curation pipeline begins with a large subscription universe, 1,000+ channels, folds in active search, and filters for novelty, clarity, and complementarity, perspective before sequencing. Quote, dynamic playlists refers to deliberate sort order changes to shift the viewing path on demand. This is referring to changing the sort by on YouTube, date published, date added, most popular. The content format strategy has two tracks. Short form, 30 to 90 second, uses on-location micro-essays, hammock, backyard walks to dramatize the feed versus library, signal versus noise, and discovery in plain sight. Long form, to be defined, will likely show playlist building in real time, comparative breakdowns of creators tackling the same topic, the periodic state of the feed rundowns. Across formats, the voice is precise, reflective, and instructional without being preachy. The visual language favors lived spaces and everyday settings to reinforce that curation is a habit, not a studio production. Monetization explores both service and production. Service, consulting on personal or team curation systems, playlist taxonomies, discovery workflows, watch later triage, potentially sold via PayHip as delivered as sessions or implementation packages. Product, templates, playlist taxonomies, naming systems, dynamic sort playbooks. A course on active consumption and library building, memberships for access to curated bundles and behind-the-scenes process, and a specialized book game spectator course. Distribution today is anchored on YouTube with PayHip as the storefront. ConvertKit is under consideration for email, but the integration plan is still fuzzy. The operation system you're building needs a replicable taxonomy/ontology to tie it all together. That includes a naming schema, across ASAP, category, and temporal lists, and integrate an iteration logic for when playlists split, merge, or graduate, a newsletter stratigraphy, e.g. archetypes like CC1B, and web copy frameworks for landing pages, product pages, service pages, and bundles. Analytics should track not only views and retention, but playlisting events, return visits to the same list, and cross-pollination, how a video placed in one list drives watching across another. The differentiator is your vantage. You aren't just another reactor or pundit. You're the librarian who surfaces unknown edges and arranges them so others can see the pattern. Key uncertainties to resolve as I see them. The exact product ladder and pricing are not fixed. The boundary between free public playlists and paid curation advantages is not defined. The taxonomy slash ontology, names, rules, upgrade paths need to be codified. The ConvertKit role, newsletter, cadence, segmentation, and automations remains undecided. Success metrics beyond standard platform analytics are not yet formalized. The editorial calendar for temporal playlists and culture commentary anchors needs dates and cadence. The scope of consulting, deliverables, duration, outcomes is not productized. The membership promise, what renews monthly and what is irreplaceable, needs a crisp value proposition. Clarifying questions grouped for speed, mission, and positioning. What single sentence promise do you want on the home page? In one paragraph, how is As an Aggregator different from a traditional curator of or a best of channel? Which three values should every decision optimize for? Audience and problems. Let's go double back to clarifying questions. Clarifying questions, group for speed. Mission and positioning. What single sentence promise do you want on the home page? In one paragraph, how is As an Aggregator different from a traditional curator or a best of channel? Which three values should every decision optimize for? Audience and problems. Who is the primary consumer? Who is the primary customer? Overwhelmed consumers, creators seeking research leverage, or teams that need an internal media library? What pain do they feel in their words when they are most likely to seek help? New job, new project, burnout, doom scroll fatigue. Editorial and playlists. What are the inclusion rules for a playlist? Novelty, authority, diversity of viewpoints, time sensitivity. When does a video graduate from ASAP to category or temporal lists? What are your default sort orders when do you go dynamic? Taxonomy and naming. Do you want rigid naming conventions across all lists, or flexible names with metadata tags? What are your canonical playlists tags? What are your canonical tags? Topic, creator, stance, format, recency? How do you want to handle versioning when a playlist forks? Workflow and tools. What is your daily/weekly curation cadence from intake, triage, placement? Which tools manage your pipeline? Watch later, spreadsheets, Notion, YouTube only? What would you automate first if you could? Formats and cadence. What is your steady heartbeat? Daily shorts, weekly temporal quick picks, monthly culture commentary recap. Where does long form fit? And what's its job relative to playlists? Monetization and offers. Which paid offers should go live first? Consulting session, template pack, course, or membership? What transformation does each paid tier promise in 30 days? What refund policy and guarantee feels right? PayHip and ConvertKit. What pages exist now on PayHip and which ones are missing? Landing, product, service, bundle. What lead magnet would attract your exact audience, e.g. 7-day active consumption sprint? What email cadence do you want for onboarding versus ongoing? Analytics and success. Which metrics will you track weekly besides views, playlist saves, and return sessions to playlist crossed list journeys, time to find? What is your North Star metric for the business? Brand and voice. What adjectives define your voice? Precise, calm, wry. Do you want a tagline, and if so, should it foreground discovery, library building, or culture commentary? Community and interaction. Will you invite viewers to submit finds for consideration? How will you credit contributors? Do you want a lightweight Discord or periodic live sessions? Policies and sourcing. Are there any domains, topics, or creator behaviors you will exclude categorically? How will you handle disagreements between sources? Present both, or privilege one and explain why? Growth and distribution. Beyond YouTube, you will syndicate to TikTok/IG Reels, and those platforms get platform native edits. Beyond YouTube, will you syndicate to TikTok/IG Reels, and will those platforms get platform native edits? What is your collaboration strategy with creators you feature? Roadmap and capacity. How many hours per week can you dedicate to curation, scripting, editing, and admin? What should we automate now? Naming, tagging, calendar, and what must stay manual? These were just some of the overview questions and considerations that I have to answer when building out as an aggregator. One-page capstone. If you've enjoyed this content, add it to a playlist. Check out our culture commentary specific playlist. We're up to culture commentary 6. Check out our playlist archive channel on Mr. Pollock 890. Until next time.